Hi everybody, Keith, East Village Wine Geek here, and today I want to talk about something that kind of gets glazed over in the world of bubbly.
Glaze over, man.
And I want to talk about this thing called champagne briefly. See, here at Alphabet City Wine Company, when people come in, they often ask for champagne. Champagne is an area in France, and the wines of Champagne are bubbly wines made from 3 grapes in different fashions, in different ways, in different styles, and different blends, and all these kind of rules and stuff like that. It's very, very embedded with a lot of history. In America, at one point, we started calling our sparkling wine champagne. And then France got mad, and now we don't do that anymore. Now we have a term called American sparklers. The reason I'm saying this is sometimes when people come in and ask for champagne, I show them our champagne, and it's a little expensive for them, and then they say, well, just any bubbly, which is understandable. So I wanted to talk about certain kinds of bubbly, and today I want to focus on the Bubblies of Italy. One of the most popular bubbly wines in Italy is called Prosecco. I'm sure you all know it. When you go to an Italian restaurant or a restaurant in general, they usually have Prosecco. It's also very famous for a mixed drink called a Bellini, which is Prosecco and peach juice.
That's really good.
Prosecco is a grape, and it's grown in the northern part of Italy in 2 areas, Conegliano and Valdobbiadene.
What?
Very hard to say. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay, good.
What's important to know is the cool thing about Prosecco is it's usually very affordable. Why is it affordable? Because the wine is made in the Charmant method. See, there are 2 ways of making bubbly. You can do a second fermentation in the bottle, where each individual bottle is creating bubbles, and you have to riddle the bottles over a period of time so that the second yeast fermentation, does its thing and creates more bubbles. Then what you can do is you can do a Charmant method, which is basically bubbly wine made in a big vat, and then they bottle it and then send it out. It really cuts down on costs. And Prosecco is notoriously made that way. But there is high-end Prosecco, and there's an area in this Veneto Valdobbiadene where there's a hill vineyard called Cartizze. And Cartizze is generally understood to be the best spot to grow the Prosecco grape. And everybody wants to be a part of that one hill. So different people own different parts of Cartizze. And whenever you have a Prosecco from Cartizze, if it says that on the label, it's going to be a more expensive Prosecco. But Prosecco is just fun and immediately available. Your wine merchant should have a couple of them, or maybe just one of them, but they should be really behind them. They shouldn't be selling it on price only. They should be selling it on quality. And if it's a really well-priced, it's a really value Prosecco, it's usually meant for Bellinis, which are really fun. They taste good. They're dangerous. Okay, moving on. Another very popular bubbly wine from Italy is not a white wine at all. It's actually a red wine. They call it Lambrusco. Lambrusco comes from the northern region of Emilia-Romagna in Italy. Lambrusco is made from the Lambrusco grape. It's a bubbly red wine, and the Lambrusco grape changes its structure very easily. There are many different kinds of Lambrusco grapes, and throughout the area of Emilia-Romagna and the different DOCs, which are the different appellations in which Lambrusco is made, they produce different kinds of Lambrusco from different kinds of Lambrusco grapes. It can get kind of confusing, so we don't need to really get into the details of it all. But there are generally 2 different kinds of Lambrusco. You can get Lambrusco that is very sweet, and you can get Lambrusco that is actually kind of earthy and dry and a little bit bitter. And in Emilia-Romagna, they love drinking Lambrusco nice and cold because it goes very well with all those heavy, fatty foods of Emilia-Romagna. So Lambrusco is a great varietal. It's a wonderful wine, and your wine merchant should have 1 or a couple again, and they'll tell you which ones. If you want a sweeter one, they'll let you know which one. If you want a little more earthiness, they'll show you which one to do that as well. Okay, now I want to talk about a wine from Italy that a lot of people don't really know about, because it's just now kind of making its way onto the American market. It's been around for a while, but it's taken a while for it to catch on. There's an area in Lombardia called, Lombardia is a region in the northern part of Italy as well. It's an area called Franciacorta. And in that area, they have a wine they call Franciacorta. It's a bubbly. Now, this wine is made in the Champenois method. They actually make second fermentation in the bottle, riddle the bottles, everything like that. And for a long time, throughout the history of this area, the wines were not bubbly. They were all still. And then in the 1950s, a winemaker decided to take the 3 grapes they use, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Pinot Bianco, and blend those together and make a bubbly wine, sort of a champagne-style wine. They were actually trying to create the champagne of Italy, and it was a major success. It started very small production, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we're seeing it on the American market, and people are looking for it. Also, there are 2 different kinds. You can use those 3 grapes. Use Chardonnay, Pinot Bianco, and Pinot Noir. You make this beautiful, sparkling, smooth, amazing, clean bubbly from the area of Franciacorta. But you can also do something called Satan, S-A-T-E-N. Oh. And after the area of Franciacorta started to be demarcated with appellations, and the government came in, because this wine was so popular, they ended up starting to go, okay, this is a DOC, this is a DOCG, and they're starting to control and regulate the way the wine was made to kind of maintain the tradition. They came up with a wine called Satan. And what Satan is you can't use all 3 grapes in this kind of wine. If you call it Satan, it can only be Chardonnay or it can only be Pinot Bianco. It has a little more depth of flavor, a little more concentration of fruit, but it's just as good. It's a little bit different. So these are the 3 most popular bubblies in Italy. You have Champagne, you have Cava, we'll talk about Cava another time, and then you have the American sparklers. But Italy has a wonderful catalog of bubbly wines and the really unique red bubbly wine of Lambrusco. So when you're out there this summer and you're drinking fun bubbly wine, don't pass up Italy, because there's some great stuff going on there. Little grape, it's a white grape, and they